What is discriminant? The discriminant of a quadratic equation tells the number and type of solution. Once again, itong discriminant na topic natin for today ay nagsasabi kung ano daw ang type ng solution at o kaya yung tinatawag nating roots sa isang quadratic equation. So, sa pamamagitan din ng discriminant, pwede nating ma-double check kung ano ba ang applicable na method sa given na quadratic equation. But here, let me introduce my topic. So, the discriminant is the radicand in the quadratic formula. So, review lang tayo. Ang quadratic formula ay x equals to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Okay? So, kagaya ng sinabi ko, ang definition ng discriminant, yun yung nasa radicand ng quadratic formula. Ano ba yung radicand? Yung nasa loob ng radical symbol. So as you can see, yung nasa loob ng quadratic symbol, dun sa formula natin, yung b squared minus 4ac. Okay? So bakit ba natin kailangan kunin yung discriminant ng isang quadratic equation? Okay? So, to evaluate, we must evaluate this radicand to find the type of solutions or yung roots na tinatawag natin. Okay? So, yung nag-factoring tayo, yung ginamit natin ng completing the square, yung ginamit natin ng quadratic formula, nahahanap natin ng mga roots, di ba? So, pero dito, we can easily identify the type of solution or yung roots sa pamamagitan ng topic na to. So, these are the restrictions that we must follow in this topic, no? So, the first restriction, if b squared minus 4ac. So once again, that is discriminant. If our discriminant is greater than 0, then we have two real solutions. So dito, it can be, if our quadratic equation is a perfect square trinomial, then magkakaroon tayo ng rational number or rational roots, no? Otherwise, kapag hindi naman siya perfect square trinomial, yan ay irrational, no? Naalala niyo yung topic natin sa completing the square. So, kapag kino-complete natin yung square, nagkakaroon tayo ng perfect square trinomial, no? So, once again, to review, if your discriminant is greater than 0, then you have two real solutions. It can be rational if your quadratic equation is perfect square trinomial. Irrational kapag hindi naman siya perfect square trinomial. Pangalawa, ito yung restriction ng pangalawa. So, b squared, our discriminant for AC. If our discriminant is equal to 0, then we have one solution. So, remember that is rational number. So, tandaan natin to. At yung pangatlo naman, if our discriminant is less than 0, then wala tayong magiging solution. No real solution. Okay, tandaan natin to. Tandaan natin tong restriction na to bago tayo magpunta dun sa ating given. Okay? So now let's move on. So meron akong tatlong step na ituturo sa inyo para madali nating ma-identify kung ilan ang roots na meron tayo sa isang quadratic equation, no? At kung anong type ng solution. Okay? So unang step, you have to identify the A, B, and C. Okay? So saan makikita yung A, B, and C? Okay, yun ang mga leading coefficient ng ating quadratic equation. Okay? Pangalawa, you have to use the discriminant formula. So, b squared minus 4ac. And then afterwards, we will evaluate that formula. And then yung pangatlo, at yung huling step, identify natin kung ito ba ay greater than to 0, equal to 0, at less than to 0. Okay? Tsaka tayo mag-decide kung ano bang klase ang solution or roots meron tayo dito sa bibigay ko sa inyong equation. Okay? So, number 1, ito yung first equation natin. So, we have 16x squared minus 8x plus 1 equals 0. So as you can see, we already have the standard form of a quadratic equation. So once again, ang first step natin, identify the A, B, and C. So the A here is 16, B is negative 8, C is positive 1. For the second step, let's use the discriminant formula. So we have b squared minus 4ac. Okay? So, madali lang, no? Meron tayong ABC. Ang kailangan lang natin dyan gawin ay i-substitute yung mga letters na yan dito sa ating formula. So, meron tayong negative 8 squared minus 4 times 16 times 1. Okay? And then, let's simplify this equation. So, meron tayong negative 8 squared, that is 64. 4 times 16 times 1, that is negative 64. Okay? And then we have 0. Okay, so therefore, our discriminant here is equal to 0 for the third step. No? Yung third step natin, tingnan natin kung nasan siya sa ating restriction. Okay? Greater than to 0, equal to 0, or less than to 0. I think ang ating discriminant dito, ang ating discriminant, which is 0, okay, 0, ay equals sa 0. So therefore, meron tayong isang solution. At ito ay rational. Okay? So, okay na. No, na-identify na natin kung ano ang solution ng quadratic equation na to. Okay, meron lang tayong isang ine-expect na solution. Okay, ganun lang si discriminant, no? So, pangalawang example tayo. We have x squared plus 2x plus 3 equals 0. So, ang una natin gagawin dyan, titignan natin yung equation kung yan ba ay naka-standard form. Okay? So, now since yan ay naka-standard form, pwede na natin i-apply yung tatlong steps, no? So, we have the first step. Okay, so ang first step natin, identify the ABC. Our A here is 1. Meron naman tayong B na positive 2 at yung C natin na positive 3. Okay, let's proceed to the next step. Let's use the discriminant formula b squared minus 4ac and evaluate natin yan. So our b here is 2. Then we have squared minus 4 multiplied by 1 and 3. Okay? If we simplify this equation, we have negative 8. Okay? 2 squared minus 4 times 3, which is 12. No? 4 minus 12 is negative 8. Okay? So, tignan natin ngayon, no? Ito ang ating discriminant, no? Ito yung discriminant natin, negative 8. Now, let's see. Alamin natin dun sa ating restriction. Balikan natin yung restriction natin. Nasaan siya dyan, no? Greater than to 0, equals to 0, or less than to 0. Okay? So, now, negative 8, our discriminant is less than 0. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, mas malaki pa si 0 kay negative 8. So, therefore, our conclusion here, kung ito ang ating equation, ang magiging type ng solution o yung roots natin ay none. Okay? So we have no real solution here para sa equation na to. Okay? So ganun yung second example natin. No? Kapag ang discriminant ay less than to 0, wala tayong real solution. Okay? So that is the second example. Our third and final example, we have 2x squared minus 3x equals 4. Okay? So now, tignan natin ulit yung ating quadratic equation kung yan ba ay naka-standard form. Kung hindi pa, ayusin natin. So meron tayo ditong 2x squared minus 3x minus 4. Bakit? Dahil yung 4, nilipat ko sa kabila. Okay? So now, since naka-standard format na siya, let's apply the 3 steps. So yung first step, identify the A, B, and C. Our A here is 2, B is negative 3, and yung C ay negative 4. Second step, apply the discriminant formula. So we have B squared minus 4AC. Okay, so meron tayong negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 4. Okay, let's simplify. So we have negative 3 squared, that is 9. Negative 4 times 2, we have negative 8 multiplied by negative 4, that's positive 32. If we get the sum of these two numbers, 9 plus 32, that is 41. Okay, so now, for the final step, no, identify natin yung ating discriminant, no? Once again, ang discriminant natin is 41, and that's positive number, and alam natin na ang positive number ay greater than to 0. Okay? Ang 41, no? Ang 41 ay greater than 0. Mas malaki siya kay 0. Okay? So therefore, ang type ng solution natin ay meron tayong dalawang real solution. At kung titingnan natin yung ating equation, ito yung equation natin. So, ito ba ay perfect square trinomial? Kung yes, dapat ito ay rational. Kung no, ito ay irrational. And as you can see, ito ay hindi perfect square trinomial. No, for more information regarding this topic, no, just review my discussion dun sa completing the square, no, to identify whether this equation is a perfect square trinomial or not. Okay, therefore, we have two real solutions and those are irrational numbers. Okay, so that's it. That is our topic for today. So once again, review lang tayo, no? So, ang discriminant, yan ang radicand dun sa quadratic formula, no? B squared minus 4AC. Okay? Bakit ba natin kailangan hanapin ng discriminant? So, para ma-identify natin kung anong type ng solution or roots ang meron sa isang quadratic equation. Okay? Merong tatlong restrictions. Okay? Yung discriminant, kapag greater than to 0, we have two real roots. Okay? So, it can be rational or irrational. It depends kung yan ay perfect square trinomial. Pangalawa, kung ang discriminant mo ay equal to 0 naman, so you have only one solution, at yung solution na yan ay rational number. Okay? Now, sa third restriction, kung ang discriminant mo ay less than to 0 or mas maliit sa 0, mawawalan tayo ng real solution. Okay? So, meron tayong tatlong step na sinusunod. You have to identify the ABC, use the formula of discriminant, and gamitin yung tatlong restriction. Okay? And that concludes our lesson for today. So, that is discriminant. Thank you and goodbye.